Welcome to the Roberts Family 365! Woohoo! I am Lumumba Roberts.
And I'm Glenda Roberts.
And we are going to recap The Amazing Race, episode number 7.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. I have mixed feelings about this episode. What about you?
First of all, y'all like my new do.
Yeah, let's put first things first.
First of all, y'all like
my wife,
new do.
don't she look so fine? I mean, that hair just bouncing. Go ahead and give him the hair flip, baby. Got a new cut. You cut a little bit lower this time.
I know.
Yeah.
You like it?
I love it. I
really?
absolutely
You're
love it.
not just saying that because we're on a podcast?
No, I'm not. No, of course I'm not saying that because we're on a podcast. I actually love your hair. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's nice and healthy.
Yes.
And you just glow.
This episode, it's like sad, but at the same time, I have all of the proud wife feels.
Yes. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the car incident. We're going to be talking about what led us up to being eliminated. This is the dreaded Elimination episode. And then we're going to talk to you about what we're doing outside of this, moving forward, because we have some exciting news about us collaborating with other teams. You don't want to miss out on that because there's more content coming about The Amazing Race.
Yes.
And then we're going to, share with you a little bit about what we, about our baby journey and the things that we are putting out for everyone to just learn more about us and how we are coming to get our baby boom boom into existence. So are you ready to go with us? So let's get this thing started. So this episode, our final racing episode on The Amazing Race, we started off it was Dom in France. And we started off at Chateau de Baynac, which was famous because it was in the movie The Last Duel with Matt Damon and Adam Driver, and it was just so beautiful. What'd you think about how we started this episode, babe?
France with the love of your life.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that could compare to that. We started off from my perspective, not expecting to go home.
No.
Even though we are 45 minutes behind the first team. Because of me.
No,
enjoyed it.
No, it wasn't.
But you know what? The Amazing Race, anything can happen. Like people, again, have lost their passports and have gotten eliminated. Have gotten lost, have gotten into arguments, and just all kinds of crazy things happen. So we fully expected that, listen, anything can happen. It's still our game, and we're not going home is how we thought.
Absolutely. So we're easing into this ready to go. We believe that we're just in as much contention for first place as anybody else.
Yeah.
We start off at the top of that castle, and just to give you guys the race order, we started off last. And so first we had Lewis and Michelle and Aubrey and David, who were in the first group. We had Derek and Claire and Quentin and Maddie, who were 15 minutes behind the first group. They were in the second group. Then we had the third group, which was Michael and Marcus and Emily and Molly. Then we brought up the rear all alone 45 minutes after after the first group, and it was okay. Mm-hmm. How did you feel about starting?
Yeah, like I said, it was good.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Good. We felt optimistic.
Yeah, so what was extremely important for us was to get good directions. Yeah. So as soon as that horn, the shofar was blown, we took off running down the castle. And we found our car, and we immediately found someone to be able to help us to get to our next location based on the route info, which said drive to Chateau de Cromarque. And you know what? I took 2 years in France in the French class. And I'm telling you, my accents haven't gotten any better.
I don't even try.
Yeah.
He's better than me. I don't even try.
Yeah. Now, what's the first thing that you noticed about these roads that we were driving on?
They're just not like American roads. I don't know the difference between like a private road and a public road, honestly.
Yeah. And that was a huge problem because even though we had the directions, some of the roads looked like they were just so tiny. Not all the roads were paved. Yeah. And they winded. It was very hilly. This area where we were, I think it's called Dordogne. It was known as the land of 1,000 castles. And believe me, it was so picturesque. There were castles on every hill, and behind every wooded area, you would see another castle built up. These ancient fortresses, so beautiful. It was excellent. So we start to driving. We have our directions. We're down packed, and this is something that I'm learning from my wife. My wife was like, Lumumba, sometimes you can overthink things, and sometimes you can just do too much trying to make everything be too perfect. So we were supposed to make a turn. It was the highway was D25, and we were supposed to make a turn to, I think it was called Les Elises or Les, and I looked at it, and there was a red sign that looked like a triangle, and I was like, that looks like it's a road under construction. And I was like, babe, we're in this country. I don't know. I don't want to put us in jeopardy by driving down an unpaved road, right? So that was my thinking.
We end up doing that anyway.
Listen, the irony. So literally, instead of making a right turn, we keep straight in order to find a way around this road. Now, I had told my wife to make a right on this road that I thought would connect to Les when it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know was that this was actually a 1.5 mile long driveway.
Yeah, this is someone's private driveway. It is not paved at all. We're in the country on this really what is it, grassy, and it's got all kinds of
kind of a gravel road.
Gravel, and it's got hidden dips that you can't see.
You cannot see. It literally, there were hills to different sides, and the brush was over it, and so you didn't know. All you knew was to drive straight. So we got to the end of this road where we started getting the mailboxes. We were like, wait a minute. There were people walking their dogs, and they were waving. Like, what in the world is going on with these people?
They're probably telling us, get off our property, but
probably.
I don't speak French, so I don't know they're telling me this, but...
We didn't, but we knew enough to turn around. So I was like, babe, wrong direction. You know what? Let's just go ahead and turn around. The road is narrow. So she commences to turn around, and then...
Because I can't actually make a U-turn because it's just too narrow, so I'm trying to back up. So I commence to back up, and I... back up right into a ditch. She
backs up right into a ditch. Mind you, none of us knew that ditch was there.
Yeah.
In the car, we have camera crews. We have, ourselves. And as soon as that car starts to tip, because she was only driving, probably 5 miles an hour, the car started to tip before she could make the adjustment. And as soon as it started to tip, we were like, oh my God, because we saw what was waiting on us down at the bottom of that hill. It was literally a hill about 100 meters down of a decline. And so when that happened, our hearts were beating. Oh my God. And it came to a stop before the car completely toppled over.
Yeah. Yeah. And thankfully no one was hurt. We got out of it. No one was hurt. We didn't damage the car.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I think someone had called like an old lady, a grandma, and she came with a tractor to the rescue.
Okay. So let's back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So we had the people that were waving us down, they were already there. So as soon as they saw our car flip, they came to try to assist.
Yeah.
We also had people that we contacted from the station, from the network, because there's security and there's also EMS, that travels with us. And so they weren't too far away. And so they were able to get there immediately.
Yeah.
And as soon as, that's when we climbed out of the truck, and that's when the people whose driveway it was, they were like, hey, we can call our neighbor. She has a tractor.
We guess that's what they were saying because we don't speak French, so we don't really know. But we assume that's what was happening.
We did have an interpreter. Yeah. So when the EMS team arrived, we did have an interpreter, and he was talking to the people going back and forth. Now, mind you, we're in the middle of the country, so this isn't even like a city in France. This is miles and miles from what we have gathered away from like major city, major AAA, major anything.
Yeah.
So when Tractor Granny shows up, she came riding on her red horse, and I mean she had everything that we needed to pull that car out of the ditch.
Yeah.
It's almost like they kind of had this done before. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah. So what was going on in your mind, babe, when the car flipped?
Well, a couple of things were going on. nervous that, oh my God, did I put someone's like safety in danger, because we have a camera person, we have a sound person in the car, and I was really concerned that someone, I had, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I hurt someone or whatever. No one wants to have that type of feeling. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but I definitely was like, oh my God. Thankful that it didn't flip, because it really could have flipped. Yeah. And then I was like, oh my God, I think this puts us out of the race. Like, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to continue. And that was disappointing, because, we said that, we aren't going home. And I felt like we still had a really good shot if it weren't for the ditch.
If it wasn't for the ditch, yeah. And so Tractor Granny comes, hooks up the car. We pull it out of the ditch.
Yeah.
I was nervous for our safety, but once I realized that my wife was okay and we calmed down, I was like, okay, babe, let's just stay focused on the rest of the race. Yeah. Do our best. And we still think that we have a shot. So
I was ready. I was happy that we could at least continue on with the race. Like, I didn't want us to go out like that. No.
That would have been terrible. At least we still had a shot.
Yeah.
And my babe did so well. Like, she got back in the driver's seat, and I was so proud of her. We got back onto the road, and I was like, is everything okay? She's like, I'm good. She calmed, she got her nerves and found her center again, centered herself, and she took off. And I mean, literally, from that point on, everything happened just so smoothly.
Yeah, I guess I kind of figured that, well, you know what? This is our lot, like, this is, what's meant to happen. And so I kind of finally accepted that, and you just kind of move forward is all you could do.
Yeah. The whole situation was so random. I mean, think about it. In Amazing Race history, there's been one other car accident. I don't know if there's ever been a car flip. Right. So we made history. We definitely made, and hey.
Yeah.
Hey. It was what it was. So the whole incident took about how long, babe?
Probably like 25, 30 minutes. So that on top of the 45 minutes, that's a lot. That's a lot to try to make up.
So here we go, trying to make up 25 minutes plus 45, about an hour, 15-minute gap. Yeah. So we head out, and the next place that we go to was the Roadblock at Chateau de Camargue, and it was awesome because I got to relive some of my childhood fairy tale dreams of jumping down a castle wall and storming a castle. Oh my God.
I'm glad you had fun.
I was nerding out the whole time. There were actual people dressed in knight uniforms, knight soldier outfits, and I was asking them for their swords and like, oh my God, touching out. It was just crazy. I was having a nerd moment. And what they wanted us to do was, once we climbed up inside of the tower, we had to memorize a family lineage of an ancient French family or royal family. And there were literally hundreds of crests and hundreds of names to memorize.
Yeah. Y'all saw. Oh my goodness.
You guys saw it. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, all of them either had Jean or Francois in their name. So it was like, okay, this is the Francois with the crest with the lion. And this is the Francois with the crest with the tree. And so I'm sitting here trying to figure out, okay, what is this? I'm sitting here dancing, making movements just so that I can memorize the right one. So I run down, after I rappelled down the castle wall, I run over to the judging area. The first time I got it wrong, but at least I knew what I was looking for for the next time. Now, they didn't show the second time I had done it, but I ended up doing it 3 times, and we were able to get it on the 3rd try, but it happened pretty quickly, and that was about on par with everybody else. Now this whole time my baby was thinking, what were you thinking when I was rappelling down them walls?
Oh my goodness. Well, if you have seen The Amazing Race, if you are an Amazing Race fan, the season, I think it's season 29, when Brooke won, there was someone who was rappelling down the window to try to clean the windows, and he was like having some issues with his junk. So I was concerned that you were going to have similar issues because we're trying to have a baby.
Yeah, we can't have junk issues.
So because we studied The Amazing Race, I was thinking about that particular episode when he was rappelling down this castle.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad that you said studied them, because we practice rappelling and rock climbing.
We did.
And so this actually like worked out really well.
It really did.
Yeah, I knew exactly how to put on the harness, how it worked, how to rappel down. Yeah. And so the whole time I'm just having a blast.
Yeah,
and,
it was.
And my wife is screaming, "Go, baby, do it for Boom Boom." And I'm like, "Oh, I just love her so much. I love you so much.
Aww.
Love you so much." And we got out of there and boom, we took off. We don't know where anybody else is, but at this time we're not feeling anxious because we're last. We're just getting really focused, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Very focused because we don't see anybody, but we don't know what's happening. You don't see anybody, but you also don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So you
with
don't
the other
know.
Racers. Yeah.
You have no idea. And so the next place that we had to go to was a place called Ferme de Tournac. And Ferme in French means farm. See that? I guess
job, babe.
That's those French lessons in high school coming back.
Yeah, you bet you know better than
me. Yeah. And so here, when we get there, we're hoping we see somebody. We drive up and no one is there. But we're still optimistic. So they give us two choices. We can do the walnut cracker to juice a walnut. I mean, it's really oil, but it's like the same process as cranking and juicing. And then the other one was medieval games. So walnut cracker or medieval games.
We go for the games.
And we go for the games. And how'd we do, babe?
We did great. I think we were told we were the fastest in the medieval games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What was the hardest game for you?
So the last game, which was like you had to like guide your partner with the ball and the string through like the different holes. I started out doing that one and I was terrible at giving directions. We switched so that Lumumba could give me directions and I could follow him blindly, and that was the better strategy. Yeah. Me following Lumumba blindly versus him following me.
Yeah. And and that says a lot about trust. I don't know if that was saying that you trust me or I don't trust you, but we gonna go with you trust me, because I was not taking good directions. My wife was telling me exactly what to do, and I was like,
I don't think I was giving good directions. Clearly I was not giving really good directions, but when we switched and you did it, you gave directions and I followed you blindly. We got it quickly.
But that's a good point for couples too, right? Because we both had different strengths. Yeah. And so we recognized that we had different strengths. It was like, okay, I'm better at talking or communicating, and she's better at, I guess, the hand-eye coordination.
The execution of it, yeah.
The execution. And so when we swapped, bam, got that. That was one. The other one was, tossing the beanbag on the top of this pole. And my wife, it was like made for her because her arm could almost reach the top. Like, so I'm just
clown. You're
trying to clown me because you was like, "Oh, you so tiny." Every time I threw it,
I was concerned because I was like, "Dang, that is so high, for him." And I'm like, "How are we gonna do this?" And he had to do it, and me. It wasn't like me just putting two bags up there and shooting them up there. He had to do it too. I was like, "Oh Lord, we're gonna be here all day."
Listen, she got the beanbag up there almost every time she threw it. I didn't play basketball, so I'm sitting here tossing it and go, and I'm like, okay, I got to throw this a little bit harder. And so eventually we got out of that one.
Yeah, we did. We did really well.
And the other activity was balancing the rocks on a suspended platform.
Yeah.
And we worked.
He's really, really good at being able to measure the weights and balancing. You led that challenge, and it was. I mean, we did that pretty fast.
Then we were out. Now
the pit stop.
Before that, we were taking off running, and as we were leaving that, we kind of started feeling like, okay, we haven't seen anybody.
Yeah. And
so then we started to talk, we started to just talk to one another and just share some things. Do you remember some of the things that we shared during our run back to the car?
Share?
Well,
I really don't know what he's about to say.
Well, no, we were just talking about our relationship and how working together, how much the Amazing Race helped us, to work together.
That's true.
And it was really kind of a moment. I don't know if things were setting in. We were still focused on getting there as fast as we could. We still believed that we were going to catch up with somebody. But it was just a good moment for us to just be like, you know what? The way that we did that, let's handle getting back to the pit stop. And the pit stop was at a location called Panorama in Dam. And it was so beautiful. It was off of the Dordogne River. And so we start to drive. But during the drive, you'll see in the episode how some of the other teams, they end up getting turned around.
Yeah.
And let us tell you how that happened.
Because there was a road, everyone's following a map, first of all, and the road actually was like a discontinued road, or it was like cut off or something. Everybody did the same thing because everyone's following the same road that's supposed to lead you straight to the pit stop area. But it doesn't.
Nope, that road did not exist. So you drive down the road, then all of a sudden there's these cinder blocks, and it looks like the road was wiped out through some kind of like river or damage or something. So it's like, so what am I supposed to do?
So what do, right? So Lumumba learns from the mega leg that sometimes you got to use your senses. Yeah. You can't just use the science of like reading the map. So we literally are looking at the signs and having to follow the signs for Dom, and just keep following the signs and use our senses, because the map is kind of failing us right now.
Mm-hmm. And my wife did a great job of that. She was like, listen, I just saw the sign for Dom about half a mile back. So let's go back to that and let's just drive this way. Yeah. And at that point, my wife takes over and she starts to put the pedal to the metal. Mm-hmm. And she is getting it. She got us to the exact right location. We drove up and we saw a whole lot of cars parked there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's when it's 7, right? Yeah. However, we still optimistic. Somebody could be running around the castle and not know what's going on.
Very true.
So we take off running, and we see Phil at the pit stop overlooking the most beautiful view that I've seen. Rolling hills, rivers, mountains. I mean, birds flying in the sky. It was just like, it was beautiful. Yeah. And that's when Phil looks at us and he says, "Do you know what place you guys came in?"
No, you tell us, Phil.
Exactly, Phil. We're not gonna tell you. And so he looks at us. He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you." And I was like, "All right, let's do this. Give it to us. Where are we?" He was like, "Glenda and Lumumba, you have been eliminated."
Oh.
And that was when, my heart went, oh. And I just had to hug my wife.
I know, because, this is Lumumba's dream. So I definitely wanted to go a lot further than we did, but so proud of what we were able to do. Definitely proud.
Yeah.
It's just, so much learning, like, wow. So much. We're not the same people, we're not approaching life the same way. Like, I just feel like, wow, it was just like so awesome, the experience, right? Like a crash course in your spouse and not knowing each other as long as many of the other partners and team members. It was necessary for our marriage. It was necessary for our family, for us to do this, to see each other under pressure, to understand our strengths, to understand our weaknesses, and to like see resilience and to see us like be so positive and our faith shining. It was huge. It was huge.
It was huge. A lot of people have asked, what is like one of the main takeaways that you're going to live with after having experienced the Amazing Race?
I think for me, I put a lot of pressure on myself and a lot of pressure on Lumumba because, I guess being an achiever and being ambitious, I'm very goal oriented and very results oriented. Like, it's almost like I don't celebrate and take things in until I hit my mark. And I think I realized the value and the just being able to experience and take it all in and not like let yourself feel good about or basically just let yourself feel good about your experience and don't wait until you hit your mark or don't wait until you hit your goal. Like, celebrate the journey. Like, I don't think I realized the value in the journey. So I'm applying that even to motherhood and the journey of us conceiving our baby. Our baby as of today isn't here. And honestly, I really wasn't enjoying the journey. I was just focused on the conception and getting boom, boom here. But it's so much value in enjoying this process and letting myself enjoy like learning each other in the life before my child. So I think I'm definitely enjoying the journey into motherhood and even my pregnancy, because I don't want to just focus on like boom, boom being here. There's so much beauty and like value in experiencing the moment, where you are right now. There's going to be beauty of like you're hitting your goals. Yes, you're going to hit your financial goals. You're going to hit your career goals. You're going to hit your life goals. It's going to be great. But there's so much beauty in the journey for today. And don't miss that.
Yeah. That's a good takeaway, babe.
Yeah.
I learned a lot as well because this is our first year married on the show. We hadn't been through a hardship like this before, having to work or something this intense, having to work toward, getting $1 million. And it took us collaborating. And what I realized was that even though I'm 40 years old, I enjoy my life, I've been doing things a certain way, and they've been successful for me, that my wife has a way of doing things that are equally, if not more successful. And if I open myself up to those things and do things a different way, then it becomes a synergy that almost can't be stopped. And so, for example, I'm a person who overanalyzes and make sure that everything is done, in a meticulous type of way. So with the map reading and everything had to be done in a meticulous way. Even down to, me telling her the exact number of kilometers it was before our next turns. So, but she was like, Lumumba, she's one who trusts her intuition and she trusts me. And she said, listen, trust your intuition. So even though when you're not reading something that seems like it's a good guide, you can trust what's going on the inside of you. And so she really encouraged me to stop looking at the map, to trust ourselves. And that turned out well. As a matter of fact, the reason why we got lost and we turned down the wrong road for this final episode was because I overthought it. I saw a red sign and immediately said, you know what? Instead of going down this road, let me be more cautious and go around the other way. If I hadn't done that, then we wouldn't have flipped the car. So, I really learned that my wife is really here to make me better, and I got to listen to that to become better. So,
don't make me cry.
I'm not gonna make you cry, baby. I love you. That was it. And this is one thing that I wanted to share with you guys that Phil said at the end. We were like, Phil, what he said, well, what's next for you guys? We were like, we're ready for our baby, for Boom Boom. Yeah. And then he was like, I have something to share with you. He said, the secret to having a baby is, he said, bada boom, bada bing, boombastic, a baby fantastic. We just started laughing.
So I just say that and then you get pregnant, I guess.
He said, you say that, you get pregnant. Bada boom, bada bing, boombastic, baby fantastic. So Phil, when our baby comes, we'll let you know. Because we've been saying bada boom, bada bing, boombastic, a baby fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really fun. We also have some bonus content for you, right? Okay. So you're not going to hear this anywhere else. All right. So thank you guys for staying along with us. We enjoy doing the podcast. We're going to continue doing the podcast throughout the Amazing Race season. Yeah. And we have teams that we're going to be joining us during our podcast for the remainder of the season. So in the upcoming weeks, you're going to see different teams and you'll be able to hear their perspectives and their views on their race as we find out who is going to be the winner of this $1 million prize. So we're so excited to have the other teams on here. So be following along and you'll see who those are in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah.
Now, we also are doing things on our RobertsFamily365.com website.
Yes.
We have our own private community where we are sharing our life and our journey.
Yes, we are. Our baby journey and sharing our love story and encouraging folks to find your soulmate. And to not make the same dating mistakes that we made that took us 20 plus years of our adult lives to find each other. We are sharing our baby story because we know that there are couples and women who are having a challenging time in their fertility. And we are, walking through those challenges. And we thought it'd be, an encouragement to share some of the things that we're walking through. And the fact that Boom Boom was on the Amazing Race, we, shouted out our future child. That's our step of faith. A lot of people were thinking, is she pregnant? Do they already have children? Is Boom Boom already here? That literally is an example of our faith and putting ourselves and putting our our desire to be parents out there for the world to see, so that you know that God is real and faith is real. And when you see Boom Boom, you'll know, wow, they literally spoke their child into existence.
Yeah, and there was some work that went in too. Look, we put in the work now. Okay.
So silly.
And so we're gonna be encouraging people to find their soulmates, and sharing our baby journey. Yeah. Now there's other bonus content.
I'm laughing because we got our dog baby coughing in the background.
Our dog is listen, hey, hold on, this is our show. We can put our dog on. Come here, Coco.
It's so funny. The dog baby is up here coughing like a real baby. Yeah, this is our dog baby for now. This is Coco Marie Roberts.
Yes, this is Coco. Coco wanted to be on the show. She's been scratching and
coughing up a storm.
Coughing. Yeah. So I'm gonna put you down. There you go, Coco. All right. So the bonus content. When we were eliminated from the show in France, we had to proceed to the airport in Toulouse. Now, when we proceeded to the airport, we actually got stranded in France. So the Amazing Race didn't end for us. We were stranded in France. And we got to the airport. The reason why was because the name on my COVID vaccination and the what do you call it? When you get the COVID test, we had taken the COVID test. The name on my COVID test did not match the name on my passport. On the COVID test, the doctor wrote down Lumumba Roberts, and on the
passport?
The passport, thank you, tongue tied. On the passport, my passport says Patrice Lumumba Roberts. Yes, that's my first name. I was named after Patrice Lumumba, the first Democratic elected prime minister of the Congo. Yeah. So we got stranded because they wouldn't allow us on the flight. Yeah. We don't know anyone here because because we arrived at the airplane and we were supposed to be getting on, and we didn't speak French. Yeah. The only saving grace that we had was that we had stayed at a hotel
connected to the airport.
That was connected to the airport.
Yes.
Because we were like, oh my God, we're trying to ask people to, babe, our experience with those people at the airport wasn't nice.
No, they weren't. I'm sorry, France. Not very nice.
No,
not
because
very nice at all.
You went to talk to some of the people at
They were not trying to help us as Americans. We don't speak French.
At the customer help desk. No. They weren't trying to help her.
Not very nice.
No, make the phone call. We didn't know how to dial out. We had a list of numbers in our pocket, emergency numbers.
Thankfully, he did, and we did. So we called the emergency number.
Calling,
and they got us
texting.
Squared away.
And so we ended up taking off running outside of the airport to go back to the hotel to see if either they had contact information of for the people that we were just with, or if anyone was from the production company was still there. Yeah. And thank the Lord Jesus, when we got there, there were still people there from the Amazing Race.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so we were still in France,
still running.
We had to stay in France.
After the race.
More nights in France.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
we eventually got back home to America.
We eventually got back home to America. So that's our story of the race after the race. You guys, we are so happy to be able to share with you all more about our journey with Boom Boom and with our life, our tall, short journey. Yes. We're excited to talk to you guys more about how to find your soulmates. And for the next couple of episodes, we are excited to share with you more about the Amazing Race to see who goes and wins.
Some amazing couples that are going to be on our podcast. So stay tuned. More race couples. We're talking more about the race, behind the scenes stuff, because they edit a ton of things. Yes. A ton of stuff. They do not share a lot of stuff. So you definitely want to catch our recaps and the recaps of the different team members who have podcasts, because they're sharing some really good insight that you don't get on the show. RobertsFamily365.com.
Yes.
And Roberts Family 365 on YouTube.
Yep. Yes. Also, we have TikTok, we have Instagram. Yes. And if you saw us here, stay with us as we continue this journey.
Yes.
All right, you guys.
Gotta go get our dog. I don't know where she at. She making me nervous.